When I was growing up, kids my age watched Sweet Life of Zack and Cody, SpongeBob, all those popular shows on Nickelodeon, Cartoon Network, but not me, right? I watched Battle Force 5, that 2010 to 2012 show where a bunch of random humans faced all sorts of aliens, from vandals to robots to sentience, and yeah, a bunch of weird stuff. And so it was like a Hot Wheels Mattel creation, and so it was easy for Hot Wheels to make a bunch of the vehicles from it, and literally they even said Hot Wheels in the show once or twice. And yeah, so I started collecting them a little bit back then, but they were distributed so poorly. You think that the Disney Cars stuff was bad, this stuff was 10 times worse. And because of dwindling popularity and season 2, and there was no season 3, so a bunch of the latter half of season 2 items, so you're looking at them, they barely made it out, Didn't make it to the United States, I don't believe, made it to some countries in Europe, and surprisingly, South America, Mexico, Central America, those were kind of the most popular places where you could find these. And I honestly believe if I went down to Brazil and just kind of looked around some local markets, I'd find a bunch more of these than I do now just looking up on eBay, which is about zero for most of the ones you'll be seeing here in today's video. So you guys know I collect this Battle Force 5 stuff. I did a video showcasing my initial collection back early this year, or was it like late December of last year? Either way, it is time for a collection update. I've accumulated quite a bit more stuff. I'm actually really proud of my collection because of the fact that in that first video, I was like, all right, we got some work to do. I really want to complete this maybe before the end of 2022. I don't think that's going to happen, but I certainly made a hell of an effort to do so. And so yeah, guys, let's get right into it. We're going to start with the loose stuff out here because I only have a couple. So this is the Buster tank that was included in a playset, I believe. I got loose, and it's not in perfect condition, but I'm just happy to have it. And the turret does elevate, so that's pretty cool. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of these like weird paint jobs that they did, but I'm just doing it to complete the collection. I mean, it looks like he has snow tires. It's like a weird greenish blue color. Like, I don't think it's very visually attractive, but yeah, to complete the collection, there it is. And it was very cheap. Same thing with this one right here. I think this was included in like a DVD set, maybe. I know the chrome Saber is in a DVD set, but here you have this white Saber, again with like snow tires. This one's a little bit more aesthetically pleasing in my opinion. And this, of course, is the car that can ride upside down because it's so even down the middle, or in the center. It's a really nicely designed car. All of them that Mattel and Hot Wheels did for Battle Force 5, they're very well designed. I think maybe as they got a little bit further into the show, like once you get to some of the red sentient vehicles, those ones I'm not a big fan of because they kind of are copy paste. Well, the Venikus here is very similar to the Tangler, and I really don't like the Synthrax at all. I think that's a pretty lazy vehicle. Actually, am I referring to the right one? Yeah, the Synthrax. The Scimitar is actually pretty cool, but the Synthrax not so much. Now, I know I showed off in the last video my Prime Evil, or at least I'm pretty sure I did. Grimian's vehicle. I think I had that one by the time of that video, but here is a loose Prime Evil now, and the hood goes up and down, which is kind of inaccurate to the show, because in the show actually what happens is like the whole cockpit raises up, the engine comes out, and the hood splits into two, and so the vehicle becomes much more versatile and dexterous, I guess you would say, with the limbs. It almost becomes like the Tangler in a sense. But yeah, really interesting, and again, one of the rarer ones. Those two variants I just showed you, not that rare, but this Prime Evil here, I think I saw one on eBay recently for upwards of $300. So yeah, very lucky to have acquired that. Now this Fangore 2.0 was like one of the rarest ones for the longest time. Like, I started collecting this stuff, well, obviously, back in 2011 when I was a kid, I bought some of this stuff, but couldn't find really anything too good. And then when I started really getting back at it this fall, so like October, couldn't find any stuff on this Fangore 2. Now, this is, of course, Callus's second version of the Fangore. He had the original version, which is very easy to acquire, all things considered, from season 1 to like the 4th episode of season 2, and then he crafted this one by himself. And yeah, it's another one of the rarer ones until recently when I somehow was able to get, like, I got this loose version, then I got like another loose version, which is in better condition, so nice. I think it's one of the cooler designs they've done. It's got this claw back here that has a ball he tosses. It jumps around in the show. He's got spikes on the fenders here. Just a beautiful looking casting. I love the red wheels that they give it as well. But yeah, now you can find quite a few of these out there. Some Panama seller somehow just tapped into about 20 packaged Fangore 2.0s, and so those got inundated into the market, and so now it's actually not as rare as it used to be. Now you're looking at one of the most prized possessions I have here, and I was actually able to acquire 2, and that is the Vylirex. So this is the only die-cast Battle Force 5 car I do not have in the package. So I really hope I can get it soon. It's one of 2 things from Battle Force 5 that I really need and want. The other one being the Zendril. Now the Zendril is a part of the 143 scale push out weapons series. There's 2 143 scale lines. There was the pullbacks and then the pop out weapons, and the Zendril was a part of that. And unfortunately, Omega Rare, right? So haven't been able to acquire that one yet, but I was able to get my hands on 2 of the Vylirex here. And this is, of course, Kytrin's vehicle, one of the Red Sentients, and it is definitely one of my favorite designs in the entire show. The only problem with this one is that the cage here, the black cockpit, I guess you would say, can come out super easily, and I've dropped it more than I want to admit. Now, fortunately, I don't know if this is a fortunate thing, but for me, it helps me with my mental state. It already came a little chipped up. It's not in the best condition, so when I dropped it, I just was like, that chip must have been there before, right? Now, it probably wasn't. Maybe I chipped it, but I do know it was damaged before I got it. But yeah, this is an absolutely gorgeous, I don't know if that's even the right word, but it's just such a unique design. He's got these 2 independent moving wheels here. Of course, the gray outer part and then the red on the inside. And in the show, this red part actually can go horizontal as well. So super cool. Let's get this guy back in here. But yeah, hopefully I can get a package version of this soon. So if you know anyone who has one, or if you yourself want to sell one, please let me know. I'm definitely in the market for one. And yeah, here is my much better condition of the Vylirex, which I just was able to obtain. That's so ugly though that they had to put a code right there on the actual outside of it. I mean, I guess there's not really many other places you could put it, but it just is ugly right there. Yeah, it does roll pretty nicely too. Let's roll the other one though. Like the black cockpit stays up there as it rolls. It just, becomes a little like top heavy. It's a little weird to roll. So yeah, there you have that. Those are all my loose items that I've acquired. And we're going to save all the good stuff for last. We're going to start with some of the pullbacks I've gotten. This one's pretty nice because the Water Slaughter and Saber are one of my favorite pairings in the show. And I think this one's pretty rare. I don't really see it pop up too much, but it was relatively inexpensive. So yeah, the Water Slaughter here. And yeah, I do think the 143 scale is a little bit better than the die-cast in terms of like accuracy and detailing. Like I like the wheels here. The back looks really nice and accurate to the show. Now the coloring I still think is a little off. Like he definitely looks darker, while the car does in the show. Ultra fast vehicle with clamping jaw weaponry. So I don't think the jaw's open here because this is just like a pullback. And you can see some of the other pullbacks that are available. Saber, Reverb, and Zelix. The fate of the earth is riding on them. And this guy's trying to kill him. Maybe, were they trying to kill each other? It's just a kid show, but they were pretty aggressive. Yeah, and here's another one. You have the Saber with Vert Wheeler. This one's a little weird to me. I don't know why they put like the yellow on the blades right there because that's not exactly accurate. I think it's more of an orange, like a dark orange in the show. but they have like several yellow parts here which stand out because it's so bright. And yeah, I'm not a big fan of that. Fast first strike vehicle used like a sword. Yeah, it really is used like a sword. Sometimes he flings his vehicle. It's pretty awesome. Like I said, I'm not kidding. I enjoyed this show. It's one of my favorite TV shows ever, still to this day. Here you have the Zelix. Unfortunately, big sticker. But a lot of this stuff I'm not going for like mint on card because it simply doesn't exist, which is kind of sad to think about. Like if you get into this, like imagine you have like millions of dollars and you're like, I want everything. I want everything mint on card. And I want everything loose and mint. I think you'd really struggle to find all that stuff. Like I honestly don't believe mint of any of this stuff exists anymore. I mean, there was so little of it produced and it wasn't very well kept. And because it's not the most popular show in the world, like it's not like Cars, there aren't people out there actively trying to preserve it. So unfortunately, that's just kind of what happened. Now getting on to the Pop-Out Weapons 143 line, which is another one of the plastic lines. Of course, you have the Buster here. This might be my favorite line that they did because I would definitely prefer to have Pop-Out Weapons than to do the pullback action. Because pullback, the wheels get weird, breaks down over time. But so here, you can see the button on the roof and these spiky things come out on the side. In the show, like spikes come out of those two like cylinders there, but here it's just the cylinders. I'm going to sneeze here in a moment. I could have done that way more wildly. I should have. I really should have. On the back here, you see Saber, Reverb, and the Scarib. I'm trying to get the Scarib. I actually ordered the Scarib, but the seller never shipped it. Like, bruh, what are you doing? That was weird. But yeah. I don't think I have. Yeah, no, I don't have the Saber or the Reverb, but I do have quite a few other ones from this series, which you are looking at 2 of them. Now, I'm not sure when this video is coming out relative to Giga Haul 8, but these 2 were in Giga Haul 8. And so in that video, I mentioned how these 2 are a part of the rarest wave of the Pop-Out Weapons series because also in the wave was the Zen Drill. So the 3 of them were produced in equal quantities, but of course the Zen Drill has become much more scarce just because it's the only way you can acquire that vehicle, whereas you can clearly get these 2 other ones in multiple other formats. But yeah, they are equally technically as scarce, but I think rare is a little bit of a different thing. And also sought after, desirable, all of those vary. But yeah, I was really happy to get these. You have, of course, Tangler ATV. Again, super well detailed, and it has the suspension just like it does in the show, which is pretty awesome. I love how the wheels and tires look. Of course, Agura is the driver here. And yeah, these cards are not in good condition either, but like I said, don't care. This one's probably my favorite of the pop-out or battle mode cards, whatever you want to call it. The Chopper for Zoom, because you could actually flip out the wheels here and make it look like he's flying, which is the gimmick, I guess you could say, of the Chopper in the show, is that it flies. The blades are not coming out of the tires here, but there are times in the show where he doesn't extend the blades. I always thought about that, like during the show, because sometimes he would fly with the blades, sometimes he'd fly without the blades, and typically like he'd fly without the blades later on in the show. It almost made me think like they stopped animating the blades. They like stopped doing that because it was more work to them, even though he theoretically should have the blades out. But I guess it also could make sense, because why would he need the attack blades when he's just trying to fly around and do some recon, right? So we'll give them a pass. Nerdcore, who animated it and all that. All right, let's get into some stuff back here. Now, this is like the only mint on card or nearly mint on card item I have, which is pretty awesome. And it is the Tangler ATV from Season 1, one of the rarer releases from Season 1. So yeah, the Tangler is going to be one of the also scarcer die-cast you can get. But again, she was just released multiple ways, multi-pack. I was going to say multiple multi-pack, but just one multi-pack. This, then she was reissued for Season 2, so you can get her multiple ways, but it's definitely one of the harder ones to come by. and all the loose ones that I've seen are damaged, including my own. I think I have 2 loose, and they're both pretty beat up. One of them's like corroded, which is kind of gross. Might have to toss that one or something. Yeah, I'll probably sell it. I can't throw something out. But yeah, it's funny that the stock image for this shows completely different wheels than what she ended up having. And I'm glad that they changed it from these. But yeah, I think this one came all the way from Greece or Poland or something. I'm very happy that it's on mint card there. Now here are 2 boring ones, but I think I said in the first collection video that I was looking for them. Just hadn't been able to acquire them yet, and that was the Season 1 Zoom Chopper and the Season 1 Buster Tank. I knew I had these, but I just didn't have the packaged versions from Season 1, and so I was able to get them. They aren't too rare or anything, but they just don't pop up all that often. So here you have the Chopper. I never liked all these snap-on weapons. Like, I think they're ridiculous. They aren't accurate to the show half the time. Sometimes there are, like this one. You could see the chains there, these gray chains. That's accurate to the show, but the buzzsaws aren't, and nothing here from the Chopper is. And obviously nothing from the Tangler was either. Those look so clunky. Like, let's look at those again. These snap-on weapons are gross. Now, not to be confused with the pop-out weapons. Those are, again, plastic, and they're larger, and these are die-cast and smaller. But yeah, there you have that stuff. Happy to have it, but not very exciting. Now, again, I'm not entirely sure if I showed this in the first collection video, but I know I talked about it. I think I said it's on the way, and it did end up coming. You have the Scarib here, which is one of the Vandals. Well, Hatch is one of the Vandals, and he drives the Scarib. One of my favorite vehicles, and it was released for both Season 1 and 2, but for Season 1, I believe it was only international. And yeah, its pop-out or snap-on weapons are also very inaccurate, make no sense whatsoever. But yeah, I make that distinction because all of the Vandals were released Season 1 and 2, Fangore, Water Slaughter, and the Scarib here, except for the Riptile, who is only Season 2, which makes him a billion times rare, and we'll get to him. But yeah, I like this one. I have 2 in the package from Season 2, which is quite nice. A lot of these come in lots, and so that's how I ended up with multiples. But I would like to have a loose one of these at some point. What we got hiding back here? All right, we're going to wait till we get to... All right, let's get to this one. Another Vandal. Now, I did have the Water Slaughter, but this is the rare transparent variation. So you can see here, this is how almost all the other Water Slaughters you'll find look. It's got kind of a very like wave water texture, not texture, but like a finish on it. It looks kind of like you're looking at the lake, right? You're looking at the ocean, which is, again, inaccurate to the show. It's a very like dark blue, almost gray color in the show. So this is, you know, just entirely inaccurate. But this is how most of them look. I have another one over here, which we'll get to in this big set. And so this was the rare transparent variation, where you could see through the body right down to the metal inside. It's kind of a weird model because plastic base, plastic body, but there's like a metal inside there. Super odd, but yeah, pretty cool looking actually. Looks more like a fish. Weapons are stupid still though. Look how venomous, ravenous he looks. Jesus. Oh my God, so scary. He does not look that scary in the show, trust me. There's nothing in the show that's like scary. It's just, oh God, it's so good. The music is probably one of the best parts to it that really elevates it. All right, moving on, we have one of the special Stormshock edition vehicles for Season 1, the Saber. So I actually really adore how these red tires look. They're red transparent tires on a typical Saber. It looks really good. A rarer variation for sure. They did change the stock images back here, which I was surprised. I thought they'd just leave them like normal. And yeah, those, again, the weapons are horrible. Don't make any sense. But yeah, very fortunate to get this. Got through a good friend. I think I have another Stormshock edition behind here. Yep. Or no, this is just special BattleZone edition. The Stormshock editions are different. I know it gets confusing. However, this one's much lamer in my opinion. I don't understand this one. I don't even understand the first one. It just looks cooler because they don't like change. They don't alter when they're in the battle zone at all. They really only alter when they're in the Stormshock, and the tires get a little red, I guess, so that one makes sense. This one truly doesn't, though, because it's just a gray reverb, so instead of the typical purple, and then the tires are different. He has red trim on them, like red lines, instead of the silver outlines. So let me pull up your typical reverb here so you can see it's purple with the silver trim on the tires. This guy, gray, purple stripe down the middle, and the red stripe, or the red rims. So I don't know why they even made this. It's just such a pointless variation in my opinion, but had to add to the collection. I'm just a sucker like that. All right, now the last Season 1 thing we have here is this battle pack. That includes the Water Slaughter and the Reverb going added. So yeah, this is how the Water Slaughter looks in the show. Like I said, a very, very dark blue. I mean, it literally does look like the skin of a shark. So I have absolutely zero clue why they made him look like that. Such a blatant difference, but yeah. 2 cars and 2 launchers. They did 3 of these battle packs. Good versus evil. But I'm pretty sure the launchers, yeah, okay. So the launchers for each team stayed the same. And so because there's a human, like one of the Battle Force 5 in each pack, you get that same blue launcher. And then since there's 2 packs with the Vandals, you get the crossbow launcher. And then the one with the Zelix here, one of the Sark, you get that special robotic launcher. Which is kind of disappointing. I wish they made a launcher specifically for each character. Because, I don't know, they just don't match that well. It doesn't look that aesthetically pleasing. But yeah, it's a cool little battle pack, and I don't see too many of these pop up. I still need that Buster one. Yeah, the Buster Fangore one. I don't have that one. But don't really care about that as much as I do some of this stuff here. So here's that package Fangore V2 I was telling you about. And the person who I bought that Tangler and Chopper pop-out weapons from actually sent me a free Fangore, so thank you so much if you're watching this video. I appreciate that very much so. This, however, was not the one you sent me. This is one I paid for from the Panama seller I was talking about. I love Callus's pose on this. Like, I love the Season 2 packages way more. They're a little bit more simplified, smaller blister, none of those stupid pop-out weapons. I wonder if they cost less. I doubt it, right? Now you don't have the pop-out weapons. I wonder truly if they cost less, but I really doubt it. Either way, though, you actually have animations from the show now on the packagings, whereas before it was just like the comic, because the comic was developed kind of more simultaneously with the show, and so as Mattel was developing the merchandise, they only really had access to use that because they were still animating the show. All right, so there you have Callus. Here you have the Season 2 Water Slaughter, which is no different from the Season 1 version right there. But I absolutely, again, love this pose here from Saber. He's like diving with his mouth wide open. But yeah, see how much more ravenous he looks as a comic version right there? I mean, you could just see like the, I don't know, you could just see the shadow and the teeth a little bit more. He looks so much more vicious. Like, damn. We're safe now. We're in Season 2. We're safe. But yeah, this one also came from Panama. It's one that I really never, ever see for sale. In fact, I think this might be the only one I've ever seen for sale. And so yeah, I was happy to pick it up. Now the last Vandal for the day is my favorite one, the Riptile. That is Krakamoto, another good pose from the guy. And yeah, this is one of the rarest Battle Force 5 diecasts you could possibly come across, because it was included in like the last wave along with the 2 other ones here we'll get to. So yeah, not on a good card, and the blister's yellowed, but I really don't care. I'm just happy to have it. There was a loose one for sale a little while back. I did try and bid on that, but I lost. I only got the Vylirex from that seller. I didn't really need too much from that seller. I just really would have liked to get this, honestly. The Riptile was the one I wanted from that seller. Because I already had a loose Primeval. He didn't have a loose Venikus, which would have been pretty cool. So yeah, Krakimoto. It's kind of weird that they have a picture of Grimmy on the back of the Water Slaughter here, but yeah. Take a look at the back of the package real quick. You could see some of the other stuff they did and some of the stuff they didn't do. They actually switched the names between, though. That's an air. The Buster Tank is the blue one, and Synthrax is that red one, who's the one I said I didn't really like. I don't really like that design. You have the Grindstone over here, which is Raucus's bike. They didn't release that, and they didn't release the Synthrax. But there are, as there are for Disney cars, canceled prototypes that leaked out. But they did do all this stuff. They also canceled the Scimitar and some of the other variations, like Evil Reverb, which is from, they did like an Evil Saber, Evil Reverb, and an Evil Buster. Those are all from the Double Down episode in Season 1, but they were scheduled to come out during the Season 2 era. But yeah, really happy to get this. It cost me a kidney, but that's okay. I'm still living. This one cost me my other kidney. Do you have? Yeah. Oh man, it's late. You have the Splitwire here, who is driven by Taz. This is probably one of the most sought after Battle Force 5 diecast, just because of the fact that it looks like a Lamborghini, or it looks like a very high-end sports car, whereas, you know, clearly the Riptile does not. The Splitwire definitely does, though. Like, this looks like a futuristic Ferrari or Bugatti Veyron, something like that. And so a lot more people just chase this one down than the other ones. And this other last one that we'll get to, this guy is definitely the one that's the point of conversation. And there is one on eBay. The moment I speak, there is one on eBay right now, loose for like $300, but it's not in perfect condition. And yeah, this one cost me a lot. This was an expensive vehicle for sure. But it put me one step closer to completing the collection, and I haven't had a chance to get one since, so pretty thrilled. And I don't regret it. Tez Volotov. Cool stuff. Same, yeah, they actually have it correct here. Buster Tank and Synthrax. They corrected it for this guy. Yeah, I would like to have one loose, but certainly not opening any of these. And last but not least is the Venikus. So this is Kai Burry's vehicle. Kai Burry, no last name. Red Sentients are just one name show. And so this is like your spider vehicle, the equivalent of the Tangler for the Red Sentients. So like Agura's counterpart. They really did that a lot. I don't know. I guess they did truly more so with the Red Sentients than they did with the Vandals. But they always tried to like create counterpart characters to your main Battle Force 5 one. So they'd always say like, oh, Zever's the scout, just like Zoom is the scout, or Hatch is more of the brains like the Buster is, and Sherman, blah, blah, blah. But it never really matches up perfectly, especially since there were only 4 Vandals in Season 1. Grimion only came about in Season 2. So truly the counterparts come into play more so with the Red Sentients here when it's obvious that like this is, you know, Agura's, right? And it makes perfect sense that the vehicles are similar because Sage built the Battle Force 5 vehicles using sentient technology, and of course the Red Sentients here are sentients. So yeah, this is one I would love to have loose just because of how wild it looks. It's a very unique car. I don't even know if we can call it a car, but yeah, the tires or wheels or whatever are absolutely amazing, super unique, and they are pretty accurate to the show because it's kind of almost like a bone type structure, like a very skeletal type structure to the tire. I like how they did the cockpit there. It looks almost like a eye of a spider. This one did not cost me as much as the other two, but it still did take a toll. And so it leaves just the Vylirex to have packaged. So my two main targets are a package Vylirex and a Zendril, preferably in the package, but I would take one loose for now as well. There was an entire Battle Force 5 collection on eBay several months ago, and like it was legit entire. It had everything from the Zendril to Vylirex to the pop-out weapons to playsets to the large-scale Sky Knife and Smash Claw, all that good stuff. And I thought, okay, I might have a chance to win this. I'm going to try and go all out. Like, I'm not going to send the boy on a man's mission here. I'm going to try and win this. But before I even put in a bid, it got way, way too high. It probably, I think it did sell for over $3,000. And at that point, I had already acquired these two. I think I might have even acquired this one as well. Actually, yeah, it was about the same time I was making the deal for this one. And so I invested a lot of money in getting these ones, and then I'd rebuy them all in this giant collection. So I might have been able to get more aggressive with the listing and the auction if I hadn't purchased these three yet, because these, like I said, very expensive. And so, I don't know, it didn't work out great. The timing wasn't great. Wish I kind of came across these later, but still probably wouldn't have been able to afford the monstrous full collection, even though it would have been nice. Just eliminate everything in one fell swoop, not have to worry about getting anything ever again, sell the extras, and live elegantly from there on out. But hey, that would have eliminated the element of the chase, the hunt, which I absolutely love. And I'm looking forward to tracking down the next few ones I need here. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below, who's your favorite Battle Force 5 character? If you haven't watched the show, almost all the episodes are uploaded to YouTube in great quality, so check them out. The best stuff comes later in this show. I think the end of season 1, phenomenal, and there are almost every episode in season 2 is great. But I think Double Down, the season finale for season 1, those are like the 3 best episodes from season 1. And then season 2, again, almost every episode's a hit. There are a couple in there that I think are a little slow, but oh man, show's just phenomenal. And unfortunately, the movie only got released in Spanish. Hopefully an English version gets unearthed soon, because people believe that it did air, just, I don't know, no one recorded it, which is terribly sad that it wasn't archived somehow. But yeah, guys, thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you soon for another one. Bye now. Okay, but I did forget a few, and I know the person who sent me these would be probably upset if I did not show them. I feel bad, but the variations, like, it just gets a little blurry for me, but I'm pretty sure none of these 3 were shown in my first collection video. They're not super exciting, especially this one. It is just the chopper on the fused packaging. I think the one in the first video had the Stormshock red tires. This is the exact same as the Stormshock BattleZone edition one that I showed you from season 1 with the add-on weapons, but now is just, you know, repackaged for season 2. And last but not least is pretty exciting, actually. It is the Fusion Vortex version of the Saber. So that is why he's blue and has all this sentient writing on him. And it actually has special packaging here. You can see these sentient artifacts or hieroglyphics on the packaging. They did this for several of the vehicles. I know they did it for the Tangler. I think they might have canceled one. I think there's a chopper. I know there is a Reverb, which I showed. But yeah, here's the Saber. Looks pretty cool. Definitely not some of my favorite things they released. I'm more, you know, in for the different character cars and all that. Like, I wish they pushed all of this stuff aside and did the grindstone, centaur, all that good stuff. But yeah, guys, all right, for real though, this time, bye now. And yes, I know humans have 2 kidneys. I was just having a little brain fart dumbass moment, but I'm all good, guys. I'm all good, truly.